Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and my blog is qbsquest.com. And I'm happy to be here this morning. I'm hearing everyone around me that spring is starting to pop up everywhere, which is wonderful. We have crocuses in our front yard, and I think our daffodils are about to start blooming out soon. I see all the little green sticking out. So I just love this time of year when things start to grow, except for allergies. That sometimes happens this time of year to me, so I get a little stuffed up. I do love flowers and trees, but oh man, sometimes they really mess with me. So anyway, I'm so glad that you're here, and I will talk to you all at the end of the video. And today is Casing Tuesday, and that's an exercise that we do. We take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And it's fun to have a starting point because I know sometimes when I sit down, I've had a busy day and I want to stamp a card and I don't know where to start. So take a look at your catalog, flip through the pages, and find a card that is great to be a starting point. And we do this every single week, and we take turns picking the cards. So they're not always cards that I would pick because, we always like to pick cards that are comfortable for us. But sometimes it's so good to try a card that isn't in our comfort zone when we already have a blueprint for it. So let's take a look at today's card. Here it is. So the blue is just the background, and the speckle part is where the card begins. Now this card has a lot going on. I don't think I would have designed this card in a million years. Just because I think I'm a little bit more simpler in my design. And so when you see a card like this, you don't have to take every single element and try and squeeze it onto your card. And I didn't do that for my card, but you can take a look at the card and go, I really like that square frame. That's kind of cool. So I took some of the elements of the card and I put it into my card to kind of give it the essence of this card, but maybe not exactly this card. And here is the sketch. And so if you kind of want the bare bones measurements of everything, you can use this as your guide to help you along. And you can change things out. It's not, when we do this Casing Tuesday, Casing stands for copy and share everything. It's not an exact science. You can mess with the measurements. These are just the starting point measurements, and it's there to inspire you. And as you know, or some of you know, we have a Facebook group where you can share your card that you made with this week's sketch. We all work on the same sketch each week, and it's kind of neat to see how everyone interprets the sketch and makes it their own. So I'll post my card over there later. I already saw that someone posted their card there today, and it's completely different than mine, so I just love that. So let's pop over to my card, and here it is. So it does have some of the essence of the card. I did the background of that other card had speckles on it, or dots, and so I created a background that was a little bit dotted on my own. I didn't use paper. And I love that square frame. I was like, I need to do frames more. So I used the stitched rectangles frames for my card, and I thought that gave it a nice sort of anchoring point. And then I used the Daffodil Daydream bundle and the Celebrating You stamp set, and I just brought it all together. And this card I would also never have stamped on my own if given these supplies. I just wouldn't have come up with it like that. But I love that Casing Tuesday card made me come up with a beautiful card that I can call my own, but it wouldn't have started out this way had it not been for that card. Okay, so let's talk about the products that I used on today's card. And this is the Daffodil Daydream bundle. It's out of the Jan to June mini catalog. And you can create beautiful 3D looking daffodils with the dies in this set. But you can also stamp a bunch of daffodils and then die cut them. There's two dies. One matches this one and the other one matches this one. And so you can, if you don't want to build a daffodil, there's the option just to stamp them and die cut them out, which I love that, because sometimes building a daffodil, you might not want to do it, and it's nice to have the option of just stamping. We've got that speckle stamp here that I use for the background, and I used the birthday greeting from the Celebrating You stamp set. If you're still looking for a greeting stamp set that has a lot of beautiful fonts in it, this one has a lot of greetings that you will need, and they're just beautiful. I love this happy birthday with the outline with the birthday. You can color that in. And then I use the Stitch Rectangles dies. I checked this morning. These dies are currently not orderable, but it looks like they will be back in stock next week. Sometimes the stock estimated timeline can be just a wee bit off, but I'm willing to guess in the next 2 weeks we will see these back in the store. So if you're still looking for these, they will be available soon. Okay, so let's get started with our card. And we're going to start off with a thick basic white card base. And I like doing tent folds. So this one's 11 by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. Then I just folded it, and I like to use my bone folder to smooth down my fold right here. And then let's do some of the background stamping on here. So I've got the speckles stamp, and I'm going to need a blending brush. And I'm going to need Daffodil Delight and Balmy Blue. Let's start off with Balmy Blue. Ink this up. Make sure my stamp doesn't have any other ink on it. Clean it off. So I'm going to take this, tap, tap, tap on it lightly. When you're stamping little tiny fine dots like that, try not to smoosh them down too hard, otherwise they're going to lose their shape. And I'll start at the top, and I'm just going to come stamp, stamp. So I'm going to stamp twice, coming down, and I'm going to fill the page, coming down. And then if you see any spots that you want to still fill in, you just want to kind of have like a smattering of dots on there. And then we'll switch over to Daffodil Delight. Oops. And we're going to kind of do the same thing. So I started here, so I'm going to just add as I go down. And maybe one here, here. Okay, so you just want to have like dots kind of all over the card, maybe not all the way to the edges, but just kind of all over. Then we'll put our Daffodil Delight ink pad away so I don't use it. This is just a extra punch shape, and I'm going to use it just to get some of the ink off of my blending brush. I'm going to use Balmy Blue ink. I'm just going to ink this up on my ink pad here, and then I'm going to take some of the ink off before, and then I'll start with a light touch, and I'm just going to start working in some color onto my piece. This is just to help break up some of the white. I don't want it super dark, but you could contrast this with a different color if you wanted. I kind of went kind of boring and just did blue and yellow, but I like blue and yellow together. So this is not an exact science. I just want to kind of add some blue there. Ta-da! That's it. See, if you did this yourself, you can't go wrong. The only thing that I would recommend, not that it would be wrong, it's just make sure you get some of the ink off your blending brush first, and then start with a very light touch, because you still don't know how much ink you have on here. So you want to just kind of start light, and then you can add more pressure as you go along. And that way you can work lightly and add more color as needed. Okay. So then we're going to create a frame, and we also need to stamp this daffodil. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the daffodil, and then we'll create the frame at the same time. We'll get out our mini boss and do both at the same time. So I've got this daffodil on an E-block here, and I'm going to use my Memento ink pad. Just tap ink all over here. All right, and then I'm just going to stamp this on here. I like to stamp this and then die cut it and then color it, just in case when I do the die cutting, if I'm off at all with the die cutting and I don't like how it die cut, then I haven't spent all this time coloring it. And then, you know, so do the die cutting first and then do the coloring afterwards. All right, and then we're going to need some of our stitched rectangles dies. I want the 4th and 5th largest of these. Put these aside. And let's grab our little mini boss. I've been using the mini boss a lot this month because I want to show you that it does work well. When I first got this little baby, I did not like it at all, so I put it away, never to be used again. But it is like so lightweight and compact compared to most die cutting machines. It is a little narrower than some, so you can't run all dies through here. So just as a caveat, not all of the stitched rectangles dies would fit through here, but the 4th largest and 5th largest do. So I thought I would do the die cutting on here today. The one thing with the reason why I love it now is I use a slightly different sandwich than the one that's recommended, and it has made all the difference. This little guy, he is on sale, or girl, is on sale this month, March 2022, for $48. Normally it is $60, so it's 20% off. Stampin' Up! Has told us that our die cutting machines are going up in price in the catalog that is starting in May. And we have a shipping increase coming up. So if you have been wanting an embossing machine, now is the time to get it. This one's a nice lightweight portable one that you can kind of keep on your desk if you're just doing smaller pieces for die cutting. It's just really handy to have. Okay, let's open this up and then let's grab our plates. And so it comes with, this is just the instruction. So it comes with all of these plates, and normally you're supposed to use the number 1 plate as your base plate for die cutting. That did not work so well for me, but, and this dark plate, this one is for thick embossing folders. I don't need that today. So we're left with this number 3 plate, which is now what I use as my base plate, and that makes me very happy. And then I need 2 clear cutting plates. So we'll put one of those down. And to die cut the stitch rectangles, the easiest way to do this is to cut them separately to create the frame. Even on a big machine, it's a little bit hard sometimes when dies have to cut over a lot of straight edges. This rectangle has a lot of stitching on it. So to help it release a little bit, grab some wax paper, ball it up, and just give it a rub over your dies. And I'll do that with my second one. Give it a little rub. So now there's a little wax on here, and it's going to help release your cardstock afterwards. So I'll just do that, and then we'll grab the big rectangle and just line it up. Now I've cut my piece exactly to the size of my rectangle, because what I want to do is I want to angle this as it's going through. Whenever, it doesn't matter what kind of die cutting machine you have, whenever your die cutting machine encounters a big line that is parallel to its rollers, it has a little bit of a difficulty going over that bump. It's much easier if it encounters a corner first. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm putting it in slightly on an angle, and that will help it get through the die cutting machine. So let's put the second plate on. We're going to roll this through. All right. So now we're going to release this. And it's usually pretty good when you rub it first, because all that stitching. All right, and then we're going to take our second one, and now this piece is going to be a little bit smaller, so it's going to be a little easier to run this through. And I'm just going to center it right on my die cut shape. To hold it in place, I've got a little bit of this Post-it note tape, so I'm just going to put that down there. And notice I have that angle again. And then we're going to run this one through. All right. And then pull that off. You can use this shape for another design. And then we're going to pull this off. Carefully remove what should now be a little frame. So, okay. Next, we need to die cut our flower. Our daffodil, where did you go? Right here, scoot this back. And let's grab the daffodil die. And this one, you'll notice, does not have a long straight line. So let's come in here. Just make sure it looks centered. And then we'll put this little piece of Post-it note tape on there, or you can use the top of a Post-it note. If you don't have Post-it note tape, don't worry, it's not required. Most of us have a Post-it note lying around somewhere. So I just ended up getting a roll because I use it so often that it's nice to have and not have to always cut things up. So there is my little die cut daffodil, and the little I think all of these daffodil dies will fit through, because you can do these on lengthwise, so this daffodil set will all fit through your little mini cut and emboss machine. All right, let's put mini boss aside and let's do some coloring. I'm going to use 2 colors on my daffodil, Daffodil Delight and Old Olive. So let's start off with the dark daffodil, and I'm just going to kind of come around, squiggle on all the lines of the daffodil. And you can see I'm doing a very rough sort of job. Doesn't look very good right now, but it will. Don't worry. We're just adding some highlights on here while we can. And I'm going to come back in with the light and blend it out. Okay. It looks just like squiggles right now. Then we'll come in with the Daffodil Delight light and just kind of blend those harsher lines of the dark blends out. Do you love blends? I really do. I remember I just couldn't wait till we finally got alcohol markers because they were on the scene for a while. The one thing I like about our Stampin' Blends is that they match the Stampin' Up! Colors, so I don't really have to worry too much. Okay, what color do I need? I just go, oh, I like daffodil, I need a bright yellow, and then I can just choose that, and it's easy for me. Some of the other alcohol markers out on the market, I'm sure they're fine as well, but sometimes they can be very complicated because you've got so many different shades, and you know, this is just very accessible, and you can just start coloring and not have to worry so much like I just did. Look at those daffodils. I think they're so cute. All right, see? They're already looking really good. You've got a little shading in there. And then we'll do the same with the stems. I'm just gonna bring some dark along one side of the stems as I'm coming along here. And then I'll blend that out. A little bit. And you can see I didn't do a really great job of stamping right in the center of my daffodil. But I kind of just ignored that because guess what? Once you come in with the coloring, you won't notice that. So let's see how it looks when I'm done. Coming in now with my Old Olive Light. And I'm just going to blend out. And here's where I kind of had a little bit of stamping in an area where it kind of faded out a little bit. So let's come in here. Now it looks pretty good. Because I colored over top of it with my Stampin' Blends. And now you can't really tell. I'm going to come in here. There. Okay. In here, in here, in here. Okay. And then down here. All right. There it is. Okay, so now we just need to stamp our little greeting. Where are you? Uh-oh. I swear, oh, there it is. I have a little basket with all my pieces, but it's a white basket, and this is a piece of white cardstock. It's hiding on me. All right, so now we need a happy birthday. This is a little piece, 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Tap, tap, tap my happy birthday on here. Let's see if I can squeeze this on here. Okay. And then we're gonna take the dark balmy blue, and I'm just gonna come along, just lightly add on here. And what you can do with this, it's very narrow. I'm using my bullet tip, but if you kind of just slightly dot instead of dragging your blend across the page, you'll find you get a little bit more control over where that ink is going, rather than if it drags across. There we go. All right. Now we can assemble the card. So we'll take the frame first and grab some Tombow. around here, just heading along the frame. This is, you know, you could layer this piece up. You could do a balmy piece and a basic weight piece, but I love the texture of how it looks as a frame. And I'm kind of just keeping this about 1/2 inch from my right side and 1/2 inch from the top. And the idea is that this is a different, it's more of an artistic sort of card, and you don't want everything bang in the center because that's not what this card is about. All right, let's add some dimensionals to the back. And I have to, isn't this cute? This is a Stampy box from stampyboxes.com, and my friend sent this to me, and Michelle Carter, and I just love it. Has all my tools in it now, and it makes it really easy for me to grab things, because before I had them in all different places, and now I can be a little bit more organized. I think she knew that I needed this badly. All right, so I'm going to put 4 dimensionals on here and just pop this on here like that. And then I'm just going to add this over here. So I'm not going to need a dot right here, but I'm going to need 2 on this side. So, okay, so I'll put 2 dimensionals on this side, 1 on the end and 1 on the middle. Pop these back here. Okay. So now let's remove these. Make sure they all are off. Okay, so then I just want some of these daffodils to kind of stick out over the side. Okay, like that. And remove this. And then turn this like this. And then this is going to rest on the daffodil. If you want, you can put like a little bit of chambo on there. And just see where that goes. Make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to add a little bow. And this time I will use a mini glue dot. This is a bow made with crinkled seam binding. I think this is one of the lightest ribbons we've ever had. And this one will adhere well with a mini glue dot. So I'll just pick that up and just put that right in the corner of my greeting. And just add that like that. Afterwards, I thought I probably could have added some rhinestone gems to this, or the iridescent rhinestone gems would look kind of nice. You know what? I actually think I want to add a butterfly. I forgot about these brushed brass butterflies. Let's add a butterfly. Forgot I had these. I sometimes keep my embellishments like in a place to help me remind me that I have them and that they're new. And sometimes that helps me to remember, and sometimes it doesn't. So let's get one of these butterflies that has kind of gone on the wayside here. Let's see, where do I want to put you? How about, do I want you here? Do I want you here? Or in here? You know, sometimes I just kind of experiment. You can plunk something down, and then I want to get one of these smaller ones. And where do I want you? I think I'll put you right here. All right. Oh, those are cute. I didn't add that to my first card. So anyway, these are the brushed brass butterflies. Were in the Jan to June mini catalog. The item number is 158136, in case you're looking for those in the online store, because they aren't on my supply list. Okay. Oh, I want to do the inside. So to do the inside, I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock. This is 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. It's balmy blue. And then this one here is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. I'm going to glue these two together, but let's stamp this first, just in case I make a mistake. And I want to come in, actually I want to do this greeting right here in Balmy Blue. And I actually took this out of a different greeting set. This one's called Inspired Thoughts. It has that peace, joy, love in it, but it also has that nice little greeting. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and know you're celebrated. And I think that's really great for birthdays. So let's grab this, ink it up in Balmy Blue, and I'm going to kind of stamp this to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with this butterfly, and this butterfly is in that daffodil set as well. And I'll ink this up in Tuxedo Black and just put 2 of those there. And then I'll come back in, I'll use my not daffodil, that's Balmy Blue, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the light. So Balmy Dark and Daffodil Delight Light. So I'm just going to come through here. So outside right now, I'm hearing shouts and megaphones. We're right on the Charles River. And rowing season has begun. All these college students are out here rowing on the river this morning. It's kind of a fun time of year because you know it's spring when everyone starts doing spring sports. They must be cold though. I was cold on my walk this morning. But maybe they're working out so they're not cold. I just feel cold looking at them. All right, and I'm just using that light just to come in to add to these whimsical butterflies. Okay, put those aside, and then we can bring this in. Just add a little tombow to this layer here. And this will just kind of complete the inside of the card because there's a lot of white on this card, and sometimes it's nice to have a lot of white on a card. But this is going to help break it up a little bit. Isn't that pretty? I love it. And then we'll come in here and add some tombow. And just add this centered on the inside, like that. And let's put this one out, and then I did this one earlier. So there are the cards, the inside and the outside. Kind of cute, huh? And very different than my typical stamping, but again, this is what this Casing Tuesday challenge is about. It's good for beginners, and it's good for people like me who get stuck in their own styles and don't try and get out of their comfort zone. So look at me go. A daffodil card that is outside of my comfort zone, but it's still very much my own and very pretty, and yay. All right, let's pop over to you guys and find out how you are today. Here I am. So I do have an ordering special. I have one every single month. And this month, for every $50 you spend using the host code right here, you will get a pack of designer series paper, 6x6. It's my retired paper, and you know Stampin' Up! Paper has just so many beautiful patterns, and I've packaged it up in a cute little cellophane bag, and I have a whole box full of different patterns. So for every 50 you spend, you're going to get one of my designer series paper packs. Here's just a quick preview of some of the different papers. I have a ton more. Of course, there's different patterns throughout the pack, and each pack will have at least 20 fit 20 sheets of paper in them. And then if you spend at least $15, no matter how much you spend, as long as it's $15 or more, you will also get to choose one of my free with purchase tutorials. And I've got over 80 tutorials to choose from. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. What else? All the supplies I used today are on my blog, and they're also down below in this video, so you can just go down there and click and it will take you over to the store so you can check things out. Don't forget about the Mini Boss special. This little guy, he's 20% off only in March, and prices will be going up in the new catalog in May. And our shipping is also going up in April. So now is a really good time to get stuff. Tomorrow, the last chance list from the annual catalog will be released, and I will be sending out an email to my email list subscribers, letting them know what is going away, and we're getting a new annual catalog in May. If you're a customer of mine already, I sent out an email yesterday about signing up to get an annual catalog, so please do that if you want one of those. Okay, that was really lengthy, but it's kind of like a public service announcement, because sometimes I get like emails after the fact from people saying, oh, I didn't know those colors were retiring. And you know, I know that we are all bombarded by so many different emails and stuff like that, so I do try and get information out, but you know, email providers are not always getting the emails to the inboxes, so I try and tell people in a bunch of different ways. So I hope I'm not bombarding you with too much information. Okay, let's say good morning to all of you, and I'm going to get rid of some of the stuff on my screen. Good morning, Janine and Ellie and Dee. So nice to see you here this morning. Good morning, Martha. Dee says blue and yellow are her favorite colors. Ah, thank you. I'm glad you like the card. Martha says, I love the sentiment stamp. The Happy Easter has come in very handy. So Martha got the Celebrating You stamp set. It's a really great stamp set with tons of greetings, and I'm so glad you got it and that you're enjoying it. She says, being new to Stampin' Up! Products, I've never received stamps attached and how they are packaged. Actually, don't have rubber stamps. How or what do I need to begin using them properly? So with the rubber stamps, let me grab my stamp set real quick. Okay, so these stamps, there's kind of two ways you can use them. Actually, I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to switch back cameras just a little bit, just for a moment, Martha. Okay, so when we get a stamp set, and I don't know that I have a stamp set that is still, let me see if there's one that I have that I haven't used yet. Oh, here's one. I haven't used this one yet. It's called In the Moment. And I just want to show you, in case anyone else is wondering, when stamp sets come, they come on this rubber sheet, and they're die cut, so you can pop them out fairly easily, and they come out like this. Now, you can take off the backing and stick them right onto a block, and they are ready to go just like that. And that is actually what I do. But most people, and this comes back from the days when we didn't have images to put onto the backs of our the stamps. So, but now we actually do have stickers that can go on there that also stick. So what you can do, so you can also take your sticker sheet, and so you find the one that matches up, so you can kind of see, this is the image right here, and you'll see right here there's always a split in the center of each image. And I'm not going to pull this off all the way because I don't like to use my stickers, but you can peel off both of these sides off of this image, and then you just put this down on a flat surface, and you're going to put your stamp right where it is, right there, and then lift off, and then the sticker will be right on the back of your stamp. And then that sticker is sticky enough to stick onto your block. So then you can kind of see where you are stamping. You can kind of see where the image is and everything. I can kind of tell where everything is just like that, and I prefer to use mine just right outside the box. So Martha, to answer your question, basically all you really need are some clear stamping blocks. These come on and off. You reuse your blocks, okay? So you don't need a block for every stamp, but you will need a block to put your stamps on. And so Stampin' Up! Sells all the different sizes of blocks, from a very small A block all the way up to a very large, what is this, this is our biggest block. This is a J block. So we've got from A to J, and this one here is like a size D block. When you look at your catalog, it will tell you all the sizes. I'm gonna grab a catalog. So for instance, this In the Moment stamp set, seeing as I have this one out here. Okay, let me find. Looking in the index, find In the Moment. In the Moment is on page 57. So let's have a look right here. So when you look right here, down at the bottom, it's going to tell you suggested clear blocks is C and D. So with a C and D block, you will be able to stamp all of these images. And so if you're looking for the Celebrating You stamp set, let's come over here, find out what page that one is on. Celebrating You is on page 65. Oops. My catalog has been folded back so many times, it's falling apart. So there we go, Celebrating You down here. Suggested blocks are C, G, and H. So all of those, if you have those 3 blocks, then you should be able to stamp all of those images. Sometimes, like if you have like a long diagonal image like this, it fits nicely onto an H block. But sometimes you can take like a D block and you can do this and put it on an angle and it will fit on there like that. You typically want to choose a size block that matches the size of your stamp. So this one here is like a B block for the butterfly. When you put a stamp, a tiny stamp on a big block, sometimes it's harder because the ink pad will touch down on the corners of the stamp. So it's nice to find, I typically, if you have the right size, I would use a smaller block for this smaller butterfly. So you want it to, you know, kind of look more like this than this. So I have a full set of the blocks and all the different sizes, but what I would do is maybe pick up, when you get a new stamp set, pick up the block sizes that you need for that stamp set, and then build your collection from there when you need it. And then later on, sometimes there's some stamps that are 2-step stamps, and sometimes it's nice to have like a couple extra, especially the smaller blocks from A, B, C, and D. So we've got A, B, C. I'm going to stick this on a different block. A, B, C, and D, they're our smallest blocks. And these are the ones that I use the most, and I have multiples of these ones. You don't need multiples necessarily, but sometimes when you're using two stamps, like today, I was using the happy birthday and I used this greeting stamp set. It was nice to be able to have both of them mounted at the same time and not have to pull the stamp on and off. So that's why you would use multiple blocks. It's not necessarily that you need it. And if you really want me to be thorough in my stamp talk, there is one other way that you can use stamps, and that is with the Stamparatus. And that is a tool, it's a positioning tool, but you can also use it for stamping. And it's basically this tool where you can stick your stamps on here. You can put your cardstock, let me just turn over this card right here. You can put this off. Right here, you can ink your stamp up right here, and then you flip it over and it stamps over on this side right here. This is nice because if you have your cardstock in the corner right here and you don't do a good job stamping, you can ink it up again and go again because it's still lined up in the corner. So that's a different way, and this you can use with all different size stamps. So this is just another way. This is called the Stamparatus, and it is, let me grab my catalog. This one, the Stamparatus, is also really good because if you're stamping multiples, that's a really cool thing. Okay, I know I'm really getting in depth today. Where is the Stamparatus in here? Maybe I should look in the index. Stamparatus, page 144. Okay, there it is up here. It is $49. So some different options for you, and here of course on this other page, here are the blocks on page 145. Block A is $4, and our biggest block is that big F block is $17, but it's block F is the block that I use the least. Was that an F block, my big block? I thought I called it something else. Yes, okay, block F is the biggest block. Okay, enough talk, and I'll come back over here. I hope that answered your question. That was a very lengthy answer, Martha. Good morning, Cindy. Oh, you just got 2 packs of the butterfly gems. They're so beautiful, and I forgot I had them. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad you love the card. Martha says, I do have blocks which I do use on clear stamps. Well, you'll use those same stamps. The clear blocks also are used for rubber. It's just that you don't see through them. And I showed you how to put the stickers on if you want to put the stickers on, and then you'll be able to see better where you're stamping. I just got so used to not putting stickers on that I just stamp without stickers. I'm sorry, maybe that's not the best way to stamp, but I just like to stamp and go, pull them right out of the box and just go with it and not worry about putting those stickers on. So that's that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great week. I'll hope you join me on Friday for my YouTube live. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look for my email tomorrow about the last chance list, about those products that are retiring. And there will be some products on sale. So look for that. See some of your favorites on sale and get them before they're gone, because everything that's retiring will be while supplies last. And that we already know those in colors, the 2020 to 2022 in colors, they are going. Those colors are Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider. So if you still need any of those color products like cardstock, ink refills, make sure that you grab them really soon because I haven't checked the inventory on them. They may already be sold out, or as soon as they hit that retired list, it won't be long before they're gone. Okay, guys, have a great week. Take care. Bye bye.